welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. So today we have a little bit of a, well, semi-Halloween-y setup. So today I wanted to make a video about the number one mistake that I see people making when they are trying to consciously manifest really anything. So it doesn't matter whether you're manifesting a relationship or you're manifesting money or you're manifesting a new house or a new job, like it really doesn't matter. But there's one thing that I consistently see people doing wrong, and I really hope that I can hammer like into your head how easy of a fix it is. In the beginning, it's just gonna take a little bit of persistence. So let's get right into it. So the number one thing I see when people are trying to manifest literally anything, like the number one mistake is that they are doing their techniques, they're really being really consistent with it, and then once they get out of that state, right, because when you're doing your technique, you're putting yourself into that state, all of a sudden everything that they want and everything that they know about the law of assumption and everything that they've learned, they literally just completely throw overboard or forget. So I will give you an example of somebody who's currently manifesting a lottery win, but every time they stop their techniques, they are talking about how they are low on money, or that they're trying to find a new job and that they have to work more, or that someone said something to them that they didn't like and now they're just overthinking it, or they're arguing with people. All of those things are coming from the state that you are currently in, that you are trying to leave. So oftentimes it's not the technique and it's not the way you do it, how you do it, because they were also talking about how they're trying to find like the best technique. There's no right technique. The right technique is the one that you end up sticking with. It's the one that you can consistently do until you have what you want. But oftentimes people, even if they do it all day, every day, if you then go and live your normal everyday life, and most people will not, like, let's say, for example, affirm more than they're actually participating in everyday life, you are kicking yourself out of that state every time you are saying something contradicting and you're thinking something contradicting. And a lot of times I hear, well, but I'm just making a side comment, or I'm just saying, but people don't really understand or realize that you saying it means that you already thought about it. You ruminated on it. Your subconscious programming made you say that, because if you were in that state, a lot of people who, let's say, for example, manifested a lot of money and are in this new mindset would not joke in that manner. And they know not to joke in that manner. For example, saying, oh, I can't afford anything, right? Some people do for manipulative reasons, but more times than not, they're maybe just doing it to, make you feel bad or make themselves feel superior. But I promise you, 99% of the time, they won't do that. I actually knew somebody once who, and we had this discussion with this person who's trying to manifest a lottery, because they also knew them, and they were like, well, but how come this person never manifested like bad money situations? Because they were always talking about how money's always short and they're never going to get by and all those kinds of things. And I was like, well, but they're saying this to somebody else from a place of we don't have enough. But when I actually spoke to this person, which was years and years later, they told me that internally, though, they always knew it was going to work out. They always knew they would make more money. Like, it was never an issue to them. They never actually had anxiety like that. They were just expressing that kind of from a manipulative standpoint. But in their mind, in their subconscious programming, they always knew that they were going to make money and things were going to work out. You always need to be really, really careful, A, who you surround yourself with when it comes to that, but B, just because you say something doesn't always necessarily mean that it's your subconscious programming, right? So we gotta separate that to an extent. Most people who are actively trying to manifest something, if they are saying things, it comes from a place of your subconscious programming just coming out. Because if you already knew really deep down, like, most people wouldn't just talk in a negative way to counteract what they're actually manifesting. So you have to understand that if you're seeing somebody, and this is like so prevalent in school, right? If you're seeing someone who's always like, oh, I didn't study, but then they got like straight A's. Even if they really didn't study, which most times they actually did study and just didn't tell you, they still had the mindset that they were going to get it done. But most people do not have that mindset. If they literally say, oh my God, I didn't study, I'm going to fail, they normally end up failing, because more times than not, your subconscious programming is what comes out, because most people aren't that manipulative and aren't using it to hurt other people. So, and I know that sometimes if you see somebody like that, that can maybe, lead you to believe like, oh, but if I, say this, then I can still manifest what I want on the other side, because look at them. They're saying all kinds of negative stuff and they're still manifesting what they want. But the subconscious programming and what they say to themselves when they're at home and even when they're talking to other people, that's important. Like, I can guarantee you that more times than not, if you are in that trusted circle, for example, they will talk to you differently. They will show you things differently. I had a friend like that who would always say, and she didn't do it from a manipulative place. She's actually one of the best people ever. But she literally was always like, oh, didn't think I'd study enough. But then I would spend time with her and she would literally study for hours and hours and hours, even when I was there. So obviously she still did things that she didn't even perceive it that way, maybe, that she was actually studying a lot. That's That's also sometimes the case. But if you are really actively manifesting something and you think that what you say to other people outside of that, or how you even speak to yourself or about certain situations, doesn't affect what you manifest, you are definitely in the wrong when it comes to that. And this is why things either take long, or you get partial manifestations, or they don't work out correctly. That's why I always say, even if you don't have somebody to talk to, like journal it down or make notes or something along those lines, where you're literally coming from the place of, I already have what I want, right? Like it's easier and better to not have conversations about it at all than to constantly engage in them. Because it's always like, well, but you know, somebody said something, so I have to respond or I have to argue. No, nobody like is forcing you to argue with anybody. You don't want to talk about something, tell them you don't want to talk about it, or you're taking care of it, or you're handling it, and then walk away. If you really can't walk away, by the way, if this is a situation where you are consistently confronted with the 3D no matter what you do, then I would really highly suggest taking a little bit of extra time, extra affirmation to affirm that situation away, or to affirm differently for that situation. Let's say you have somebody who constantly tells you that you're broke and you're never going to get anywhere. Either manifest them away so you don't see them during that time, manifest that they are totally supportive of you and they see your potential and they love what you do and they're always telling you like you're going to be a millionaire, whatever it is that you want to be. You can do those things on the side, because in my personal opinion, if you are manifesting nonstop for something, but on the other side, you are consistently kicking yourself out of that state, you can stop manifesting. It's a wasted time and wasted effort if you are not fixing the things that are actively harming you in the 3D to keep you from getting what you want. You would be much better off, put some time away to affirm the negative 3D circumstance away if you can't ignore it, and then the rest of the time spent affirming for what it is that you actually want, instead of engaging over here thinking, well, but if I affirm enough, it's gonna go away. Like if I just ignore it enough, it's gonna go away. Sometimes that just isn't the case. If it's constantly in your face, you can't ignore it. If you can't ignore it, please do. I would highly recommend you do that if it's possible, but I understand that sometimes it's just not the case. And then you're gonna have to take that extra step, because otherwise you are literally harming your faith in the law of assumption, in your manifestation abilities. You're gonna continue to live in the state, in this bad situation that you don't want. And there's really no reason. Like we can manifest anything instantly. So why wouldn't you want to make sure to have like the odds stacked in your favor, if that makes sense? And sometimes that unfortunately just means doing a little bit extra, but you are affirming either way. So don't think that just because you're affirming a little bit less, for example, for you want to be a millionaire and then over here manifesting for someone to stop messing with you, that's still giving the same result, because realistically, if you have what you wanted, they probably also would stop messing with you to an extent, at least, because that's kind of the belief that we have. So you are doing yourself a disservice by not doing that either way. So don't think that switching out affirmations or replacing them temporarily is not going to get you to where you want to go. Chances are, if the 3D is affecting you, it's probably going to help you in the long run. I'm sorry for the short video. I really hope this helped you. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next one.